First of all, I just want to thank everybody for being here today and supporting Ring of Honor. And on behalf of all the guys, AJ Styles, Paul London, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, Mikey Whipwreck, we thank you guys for coming out and supporting us yesterday. And I guess this is our live shoot interview with Mikey Whipwreck, former ECW star, Ring of Honor superstar, independent superstar, Jack Sabbath superstar.
Jack Sabbath, USA Pro, baby.
Yeah, exactly. 5-hour marathon. I guess the first question I want to ask Mikey, and I'm sure everybody out there wants to know, is how you got started in the wrestling business.
Does anybody not know the answer to that question by now? Okay, anyway, I was, first, Ulf Herman, everybody. Ulf Herman. Of course, Ulf Herman wouldn't be possible without Mr. Ulf Herman. Anyway, a friend of mine, Sonny Blaze, who was a job guy in the WWF in the early 90s, he owned a ring, and one night he got a phone call from Todd Gordon asking if, they could rent his ring. So, of course, being the money-hungry groveler that he was, he said, of course, and he set me down to set it up. So after the ring was done, me and my buddies would just mess around with moonsaults and high spots and stuff, and Joey Styles happened to see us, and he said, man, these guys are good. So he went and got Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman goes to me, you want to wrestle? I said, okay, and that was it. No real training, nothing. Just went out there having no clue, which is pretty much why I just got my ass kicked for the first 6 months of my lovely, illustrious career.
All right.
We all got that? Yeah. Say yes.
Yes.
Okie dokie.
I guess who are some of the guys that actually took you under their wing and showed you the ropes and taught you the business?
Well, Rob. First it was Paul Heyman, the one he started, and then Taz and Tommy drew him a little bit in the beginning, and then he teamed with Cactus, and then with Mick, he taught me everything, and he said to me, Mikey, stop bumping so hard, and when you're hurt, take the time off to heal yourself up, or by the age of 30, you'll be a crippled disaster.
What are you now?
A crippled disaster. But after Cactus left, I learned from everybody. I learned from Malenko, Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Mysterio when he was in, Terry Funk, Shane Douglas, Sabu. I took a lot from everybody and just listened and listened and listened. And that's why now I think I can, physically I can't contribute too much anymore, but I can guide people in the right direction, which I try to do with the SATs and Red and Divine. Well, the SATs don't listen to me, but Red, it listens and keeps his mouth shut, and he's doing real good. And what was the question?
Oh, we're just talking about, let's just talk about your fondest memories of ECW.
Fondest memories, let's see. Not getting paid. Not getting paid.
Fondest memories. Mary Kate? Nobody knows who Mary Kate is, don't worry.
And you're all better off for not knowing. The first memory would be one of the tag belts with Cactus, because growing up he was just like, he was the man for me. I mean, he grew up on Long Island and just a bumping machine, and just his character was great. And just, when I got to the building and Todd Gordon goes, oh, Mikey, you're winning the tag belts with Mick Foley tonight. I go, get damn it, what a rib. Lo and behold, the Cactus goes, hey, Mikey, partner, we're going to win the tag belts tonight. We're going to be bang bang. I was just like this. That was with Cactus was great. Wrestled Steve Austin and Mysterio in the same weekend was great. Because that was a big mark for Steve too. I think I'm a big mark for everybody, which is except one person, but I'm not going to get into that.
Big Show.
Huh?
The Big Show.
It's a big show.
Am I a bit sure?
No, I said the Big Show. It's your mark for the Big Show.
Of course I do. Yeah, but in that coming back and teaming with Tajiri and just having a blast with Padre and Yoshi was just great. And really, that was kind of it, I think.
How about WCW? Talk about WCW.
WCW was the drizzling shits. I get a phone call to come in, And and they say to me, Mikey, the cruiserweight division is boring. I go, it's boring. They go, it's the same thing every week. High spot, high spot, high spot. So on, so on, so on, so on, so on. They said, Mikey, we want you to come in, work a program with Kidman, and then a little bit of a hardcore, different touch to the division. I said, oh, that'd be great. I go there, I work the match they wanted with Kidman, and I pretty much sat home for the rest of my 10-month WCW career. Besides a couple pay-per-view matches that meant nothing, like Scotty Riggs, useless match. Van Hammer, another useless match. Van Hammer, before the match with Hammer, he comes to me, Mikey, you're going to find out I'm not as bad as they say I am. So, okay. So I worked the match, miserable. I didn't want to be there. I said they could have had anybody do this. So after the match, I come to the lock. Kevin Nash goes, Mikey, thank you for trying. I said, Kev, no problem. And he goes, and then Hammer comes over and goes, see, Mikey, I told you. I go, you know what, Hammer? You're not as bad as you say they are. You're worse. He just kind of looked at me like, I thought I was kidding, but he was not good. Great guy, though. Really great, nice guy, but he was just not very fun to work in the ring. And Cactus warned me about that, too. The next question would be to Rob. Rob, so when did you start RF Video?
Back in like...
Okay, good.
He's a rock. Can you talk a little bit about your training with Taz and Perry Saturn at the dojo?
Nightmare. You guys see Tough Enough? Yeah. Nothing even comes close to comparing to what I went through. And, well, what they did off camera is another story. But even then, Taz had to be laid back. I got my ass kicked 5 days a week from like 12 o'clock in the afternoon to 5 o'clock at night and just got my ass kicked every night, every day. And then have to go work 2 shows on the weekend. And then Sunday, I would go home and just have messages from Taz and Perry saying, I better show up tomorrow, I better show up tomorrow, I better show up tomorrow. Meaning Paul Heyman saying to me, Mikey, you don't have to go. You don't have, but I wanted to learn the right way. I wanted to really know what I was doing because they wanted me to eventually help in the school and just training with them and just listening and paying attention and doing what they said. And got to the point where I could train guys like Red and the SATs and hopefully they can contribute to the business, a lot of guys. So it was just a nightmare. I mean, there were times I really could not move. I told Taz, please, can you bring Sam in? I'll work with him for 5 hours instead of you two guys. It was just bad. Torture.
I hear you.
Torture. Really, I really think that sometimes there were assaults in that school. And the police should have been called and there should have been arrests made. But, hey, I want to be a pro wrestler. And look at me now. Fat, balding. Well, you're balding.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
What is your favorite match you've had in ECW?
Well, Rob. Tell me. I think probably one of the matches with me and Tighe with the FBI were some of the favorite ones. I mean, Tighe and I beat the crap out of Joey Matthews one night. We went chop crazy. I told Joey before, I said, Joey, look, I hate chops. Please, don't chop me. You want to punch me in the face, please, just don't chop me because I hate chops. Okay, man, hey, whatever, man. So we're having the match, and Tighe gets Joey up against the guardrail, and he chops him. And it was like a shark that smelled blood. Because we chopped him like 20 times. And he was like, oh, and we kept pushing him back to stay there. His chest was bleeding, bright red, and he stood back like this. I go, Joey, I am so sorry. I don't know what happened. He goes, it's okay, man. It's TV, man. It's okay. I said, and I'm thinking, if he did this to me, he would be dead right now. But
I remember.
You remember that?
Yeah, I was there.
That was in Detroit.
Yes.
Detroit, 8 o'clock in the morning, we're at Denny's, and the devil goes, excuse me, waitress, do you have any beer? She said no.
Did you, when you started training the SATs in Red, did you teach them anything that you learned from Taz and Perry, or were you a different kind of teacher?
I am a relaxed teacher, for the most part. Taz and Perry were very, Hitleristic Nazi tactics. They would just, beat you and just, and it's like boot camp the way they would do it. I was a little more friendly and a little more like myself. And at first, they asked me to train them for like 2 months. I said, man, I don't want to train these guys. I don't want to do anything. And I said, okay, here's what you do. Come to the school at 5 o'clock on Monday and wait for me. They went to the school at 5 o'clock on Monday and they waited till 1 o'clock in the morning for me. And I never showed up. But I was watching them, like I would drive by and I'd watch. I go, man, they're still sitting there. Son of a bitch. I said, okay. So I go home and I film my girlfriend at the time, what was going on. And she goes, you're a mean son of a bitch. I go, it's only started. So they called me up. I said, oh, guys, I'm sorry. Something came up. Meet me at the school Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Well, Wednesday come along. They show up at the school. They sat there till 5 o'clock in the morning. I said, I think these guys want to be trained. So 5 o'clock in the morning, I go to them. I say, okay, guys, we're going to train. Like, Mikey, man, it's 5 in the morning. I said, okay, then we don't train. We didn't train, but I want to see what they would say. They come back and we start training, and they were so scared and intimidated by me that they wouldn't say a word. Red, I did not hear Red speak for 6 months. He did not say a word.
He still doesn't speak.
He doesn't speak, but, well, he's a little devil, really. But, and I would just, I fixed their feet, and they for the first 3 classes, all they did was tie up. For 2 hours, for 3 days in a row, all they did was tie up. And they didn't get it. They go, Mikey, why? I said, shut up and listen. And you're going to tie up and until I feel you're ready to do something else. So I said, okay, we're going to learn hammerlock today. 3 days straight of hammerlocks. And they didn't get it. Now, finally, after 2 years or so, they finally get now what I was doing. Because now their feet are right, and it's embedded in their mind how they should be. And now when they see other people wrestle, they go, Mikey, man, their feet are terrible. It's horrible. I go, you see? And that's the first thing a good promoter will notice, are people's feet. And then, of course, if they can actually wrestle, they're not just high spot crazy, which sometimes my guys do get high spot crazy. But they can wrestle. Their psychology is god-awful, because they don't want to listen to it. But they can wrestle if they have to. Right, Rob?
I agree. That's why I use them. What do you think about Red and the SAT's success right now in Red in Japan and the SATs in America? The TNA.
SAT's success went straight down the tubes because of Joel. And I'm going on public record saying that Joel screwed everything up because he's fat and he's lazy and he won't train. You want to shoot? I'm shooting. Because I talking to Rob and Doug before, I think that when I would take the kids on the road, I gave them everything. I paid for all the trans. I paid for gas, tolls. I paid for all their food. When they worked for a promoter who'd pay them like $10 when they first started, I thought them $50 a piece. Because I feel that if you're going to work, you're going to get paid. You have to pay your dues, but you can't expect somebody in this day and age to drive. It's not like you had different promotion territories you could work for. There's only a select few, and you can't expect someone to drive somewhere 10 hours for $10. So I would pay them, and I feel that. And Rob did the same thing with them. I don't know if did you pay them too?
Yeah, when it came to CZW, I paid for them.
Yeah, he paid for them, and I think what happened is they got spoiled, and they got too much too quick, and they started taking Joel started to take advantage of what they had, and they thought that, well, we're the SATs, we can do what we want, and they're learning now that that's not how it works. You have to continue to produce and continue to work hard to keep your spot in this business. Except now it's very competitive. I mean, you got guys. I mean, you guys see them. These TNA guys, the Ring of Honor guys. You got you guys over here. I mean, you guys. Yellow. Oh, it's him. Yeah.
He's got a bomb.
Rob, that's not funny. I mean, I'm up for a good rib every now and then, but we're reading the paper that the bomb threats at Heathrow Airport tomorrow.
Sorry.
Hey, come on.
All right.
Is there really a bomb in there?
No.
But you have to work hard, and you have to continue to work hard and stay in the gym and stay in shape, which is what I said, Joel, don't follow my example because I don't go to the gym, which I retired too, so I don't have to. But, You have to work hard, and you have to train hard, and you have to appreciate what you have. And I don't think that Joel appreciated it. Red, on the other hand, he busts his ass every night. He's banged up to death, and he won't take time off, which I remind me to yell at him when I get home. He keeps his mouth shut. He does what he's told, and he just works hard.
He's a student of the game.
He's a student, and him and Quiet Storm, they watch nothing but tapes. You call Red at 3 in the morning, Red, what are you doing? Watching tapes, Mikey. I said, okay. And you talk to John, what are you doing? Mikey, I'm watching tapes. That's all you get out of John, too. But they just study, and they study, and they study. And those are the two guys that are doing the best right now. Red's got All Japan, TNA, and he can pretty much go anywhere he wants. He was going to come here, but that's a whole. I know on the net, people are burying him, saying, "Oh, F Red," because that's not the case. Red wanted to come here. He had to wait for Japan. They didn't have any tours this weekend, but he was going to go early. But so don't bury Red on the internet, because he really didn't screw up. What was I talking about?
SATs and Red.
SATs and Red. But yeah, Red is doing great. I have no qualms with Red, except he has to take time off because he's hurt. And Joel and Kelvin, I had a long talk with Joel last week, and hopefully he'll be picking it up. He's already started dieting. Because, Mikey, I ate carrots today. That's it. I ate carrots. Well, it's not the carrots that are a problem, Joel. It's the Twinkies and the donuts that are the problem.
Did you ever have any contact with WWE about going there to wrestle for them?
Brief contact. Pretty much to the point where I said, I don't want to come in. I know you're going, huh? But I couldn't go in. I can't work a 4-day, 5-day schedule. There's just no way it's possible. I could have went in there, probably teamed with the Jerry, and had a program with the Hardys, is what they were talking. But I couldn't do it. It's just, especially when there's guys out there, like AJ and Loki and Paul London and Chris Daniels and Jody and Jonny Storm and Doug Williams and hell, the whole Ring of Honor crew that are young and healthy that can go. And these guys, I don't feel I deserve to be there now because I just can't do it. I would like to be there and make some money, but it wouldn't be fair to me to go there and just dog it. And I couldn't do it. Though if I could physically do it, I would. I think we'd have good matches. And of course, that's debatable, because sometimes I think I'm the drizzling shits.
Too hard on yourself.
I know, but that's just how I am. I'm so humble.
What is in the future for Mikey Whipwreck?
I figure I'm going to retire about 16 more times. My goal is to beat Terry Funk. I think that by the time he was 30, he retired twice. So I figure if I can retire within the next 3 weeks one more time. Remember, I just retired. But I'll work your show next week. Right. Just call me or something. Yeah, no, I retired, but I plan on retiring for good. But I said, that's it. I can't do it no more. I'd work with these young, I worked a match with Loki and Guido. I mean, and they want to do all this stuff. I'm going, oh my God, I can't do that. And I was discouraged because I just couldn't do it. I had a match with Xavier, and he's like, oh, I get to work Mikey, it's going to be great. And he had all these things, and I go, here's what we're going to do. And I had to milk it. And I didn't feel like I was giving the people everything I could, and I wasn't giving the guys I was working with everything I could. So it just wasn't. And I said, you know what, that's it. No more. And after about a little over a year, I guess, right? Probably. Year and a half or something. I was sitting home, and my wife said to me, "Go away." I said, "What?" She goes, "You're driving me crazy. Go do something. Go set your head on fire. Something. Go." Because I would sit home all day and do nothing. And she'd be trying to get work because she works at home. She tried to get work done, and I'm just standing behind her, and I wouldn't even know what I was doing. I mean, this is bad. I walk around the house not knowing what I'm doing. She goes, "You're like an Alzheimer's patient." and no, it's not. It's a bad disease, but it's true. I was here's a story. I may have told a couple people this, but my wife says, "All right, now look. I want you to go to the supermarket, and you're going to pick up 3 things. I don't know, milk, eggs, and coffee, or whatever it was. I said, okay. She goes, don't forget. I said, okay. So I'm going to write it down. Eggs, coffee. Go to the store, get my 3 things. I go, hey, this is good. Go to get my car, nowhere to be seen. I go, I walk back in the store, okay. Come back out. Now, I know I parked right there. So I get on my phone, call the wife. She goes, what did you forget? I said, I didn't forget anything. What did you buy? Milk, eggs, and coffee. Oh, okay. Well, what's the problem? I go, I can't find my car. What are you talking about? Hon, I parked the car right here. And I know it. She goes, you jackass, you took my car. I was in her car the whole time. I didn't even know it.
Not good.
This is my life, folks. People, Mikey, I sent you an email and you said you're going to do this interview and you never sent it back. I go, what interview? This one? I go back, check my email. I go, oh, yeah, there it is. Stacy, my booking agent, she is a saint because she'll call me 3-4 times a day, never call her back. I just forget. And it's terrible. I mean, I am a disaster. I got 1250. You guys don't have SATs over here. So Rob, I got 1250 on my SATs.
Not that bad.
That's damn good. Most people get 1,000. But 1250 out of 1,600 isn't bad. My IQ was 187, and now I'm a blubbering fool.
You know where we are now, right? London?
Yeah. Somewhere in London. I'm not sure what kind of place this is. And if I talk, where are you? Well, I'm in an S&M club in London. I go home, my shit will be on the lawn. Not that that would be a bad thing at this point, but it's a whole other story, a whole other issue we're not going to get into. Unless you really want to. Nah. Because then in court it can come up, he said this, and this. And then I have to pay her more money, and then it's a disaster. But my life is hell.
Who are some of the guys you like watching on TV today?
No. I like watching Benoit and the Guerreros and Mysterio and Tajiri when he's on. Guido when he gets to wrestle. I like Jeff Hardy, believe it or not. I mean, I know people think, but he's really, he's weird, but he's not bad when he wants to wrestle. Matt Hardy's good. Like basically the young guys that go out there and work hard. But of course now they're in a predicament where they have to work 5 nights a week, and they don't want to work hard because if they get hurt, they don't get paid. So you see the same crap every week. And if I have to see The Undertaker wrestle Triple H or The Rock wrestle Steve one more time, I mean, is it getting boring or what? Yeah. That's why thank God for FWA, right? Hell yeah, man. Now, Alex, I put your company over. That's your extra 100 pounds in the wallet. Thank you. But no, I mean, some of the things they do are okay. I like Van Damme. What have they done to him? He's counting down the days to the end of his contract because I bet he doesn't renew.
Sure.
He won't renew his contract. So when you see the end of his contract, gone. No more Van Damme. He's going to go to Hollywood, make movies, and run his comic book store.
And Ring of Honor.
And Ring of Honor.
Okay.
I mean, he could be the whole effing show again?
There you go.
Not the whole effing segment?
No.
Okay.
Why don't you tell everybody about the story when Sandman came to you in Florida? What happened in the locker room afterwards with Benoit, Guerrero?
Yes.
It's a good story.
Good story. Lovely story. What? Hold on a second.
He's waving by.
Elazar, what's the problem? What is the problem? What? Well, you know something. What? You gave me this. What does that mean? Am I entitling it? I'm not amusing to you? I have 5 minutes. That's all you're going to give me.
Well, we got everybody else as well.
Am I keeping you guys entertained at least a little bit?
Yes.
then you're going to have to wait. Thank you very much. No, so Sam, actually this was in Philly, this incident.
Oh, I'm talking about the caning in Florida, too.
That just hurt.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm working with the Sandman in a caning match in Philly. And I got distracted by the TV, I'm sorry. And the finish was, I kiss woman, she faints. I turn around, Sandman whacks me with the stick, 100 pounds baby, and 1, 2, 3, right? Well, lo and behold, kiss, oh, son of a bitch. Kiss woman, not you. Fun, athletic guy. Turn around for the stick, miss. I go, oh shit. I turn around and he beat the ever-living piss out of me with this stick. He hits me with the stick, 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 hits me with the stick. I finally roll into a fetal position like this, going, oh God, please. Woman is on there going, stop it, stop it, stop it. Mom was like, oh Jesus Christ. Now at this point he's hitting me in the back of the neck. So I am on the ground and my leg starts doing the Devon shoot. My leg is doing this. And I can't stop it. I go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Finally, woman says, if you hit him one more time, I'm going to stab you. Because she used to keep a blade in her breast, just in case. I don't know. So finally he stops, and now the back of my neck is swollen. I look like a hunchback. And it was black and blue already, and I'm in the back, and Paul goes to me, Mikey, after Sandman wrestles the public enemy, you're going to go out there and cane him. Okay. So I'm sitting there. Next thing you know, I feel this. Scott Steiner takes me and drags me to the wall, picks me up and plants me against the wall. Like this. And I got Rick Steiner, Taz, Benoit, Malenko, Guerrero, and half the locker room like this, as I'm pinned against the wall, saying, if you don't hit this motherfucker as hard as you can, we're all going to kick your ass. And I'm going. I'm like, I'll hit him. So I go out there, and I hit Hack. I go, as hard as I could. Whack. Yeah, harder. I'm going, you've got to be kidding me. And I whacked him as hard as I could. Nothing. He didn't even care. He's out there doing the thing. I got to go out again. Paul goes, get him again. This time, they have a band on the stick that if you slide it all the way up, the cane will bend when it hits you. Which still hurts like hell, but it helps a little bit. So I took the band and I pulled it all the way down. So now basically I was hitting him with a broomstick. I hit him as hard as I can. He goes, that was good. And he walked out. I get back and Scott Steiner's like this. It's the hell of a hack. I was like, avoid Scotty like the plague.
Are we going to take any questions from the audience, or are we wrapping this up? All right, audience. Anybody have any questions for Mikey? Go ahead.
Do you have anything resentment towards Paul Heyman like some of the other guys do? I've heard they carried in really like stuff.
Yes and no. Because I can say this. Without Paul Heyman, there was no me. So any money I've made in this business, it's because of him. Am I happy that I was out 20 grand? No. But the fact that I could even be owed 20 grand and went to WCW and made some money was because of him. And it's not like he's sitting in a mansion. He lives at home with mommy and daddy at 45 years old. So what am I going to do? I got this far. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Paul Heyman. So as much of a lying scumbag Paul Heyman is, he was good to me.
Next question. Go ahead.
You wrestled Xavier last night. What are your thoughts on him as a performer?
He was fun to wrestle. He's actually, it was my favorite match since coming back.
Really?
Yeah. It's like looking in the mirror almost. I look at it, I go.
Seems like.
Yeah, I go, chubby. Weird hair. It was fun. listened real good. He came up with some real good ideas. And we just went out there, and I said to him, I said, Jack, I said, hope you're not expecting a Chris Daniels, AJ Styles type matchup here tonight. He goes, Mikey, no. I said, that's good, because I can't give that to people, because I can't work that style. Number one, I couldn't remember everything that they have to do, number one. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do what I do, which is some hardcore stuff, but not the crazy hardcore stuff, and try to be somewhat innovative, and just pop the people I think we did. But he was fun, I mean, really fun to work. Really, I mean, he's a great worker, and if he just pleases himself a little bit, I think he'll be real good. Is he here? Is he coming?
No, he's training today with Chris Daniels.
He's training with Chris Daniels today instead of being here.
I like that. Go ahead, you in the back.
If you could go back in time and do anything different in your career that would make it possible for you to be a full-time wrestler today, would you do it?
Yes, I would. Well, number one, the one thing I wouldn't do is I had knee surgery in '98. And 2 weeks after my knee surgery, I was here wrestling. Good idea? Not really. I got home to the doctor. My knee was a disaster. The stitches were a mess. It was just a big... I got reamed from my doctor. Holy hell. But when I was hurt, and the doctor said, look, take a month off, I would take it a month off. Because everybody got into a lot of guys too, you'll know, they got the ECW mentality of, oh no, we're hardcore, we're tough, we have to wrestle. And that's good to a point if you have like, you know, something that's nagging like a thumb or something. But when I broke my shoulder, you know, instead of wrestling 2 weeks later and having this huge bulge now that keeps me from lifting my arm past here, I would have. Just injuries, and that's what I tell anybody who wants to be a wrestler, or even Loki, I told Loki before, take the time the doctor says to take. Because you don't want to be 30 years old and just a mess. I can't imagine when I'm Terry Funk's age, what I'm going to feel like. I really can't. My God, Mikey, you old crippled bastard. And he'll still be wrestling. He'll have retired 87 times by then.
Loki.
I see you in a match sold paper plate shots. What's the most ridiculous foreign object you've ever sold in a match?
Well, say that again?
I saw you in a match with, I think it was Nunzio, where you was selling being hit around the head with a paper plate. What's the most ridiculous object you've ever been hit with that you sold?
That I sold? Well...
On eBay.
I've sold nothing on eBay. They take a cut of what you... Thieving bastards. I never sold anything really... here's something. I hit Guido one time with an inflatable ketchup bottle. And he sold it like I hit him with a gun. I got Guido one time. We were doing a house show somewhere. And I work real light. For those who don't know, I'm very easy. And Guido, Mike, I never know when you're going to hit me. You know. So, okay, Guido. So, I have Guido in the ring, and tag match. I got Tighe on the apron, and I got Mamaluke on the other side. And I go, Yoshi, watch. And Guido's selling, right? And I say, he might do this. And he goes, oh. Which really I shouldn't do, but it was just, it had to be done. He's just selling nothing. Just be stomping the mat, and he's... That's ridiculous.
Exposing the business 101. Anybody else have questions? You have a question?
You did some shows for the UWA back in the early 90s. What were you like doing them?
UWA?
EWA. It was EWA. It was a dirt bike kid.
The dirt bike kid, everyone. His career was shorter than mine. And thank God for that. The shows were great. The opponent, not so good. No, I wrestled Jason Cross in a match. It wasn't bad. And that was fun. And the crowds were great. I mean, you guys were like rabid animals. I remember I was in the ring with Sabu and Dirtball, and the people, they were like flocking to the ring. It was like they were like stampeding almost. And somebody's like, oh my God, they're gonna kill us, they're gonna kill us. And everyone's like, what's my next spot? Yeah, but no, it was fun to work. Just dirtball wasn't very good. I mean, he was a nice guy and all, but just wasn't very good.
Anybody else have any questions? Somebody else have a question.
No more questions.
Is that it? Go ahead.
What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you in the ring?
Wrestling balls when he shit himself.
He did that every night. The scariest thing. Being in the ring and looking at Sandman across the side, you know, like this. Scary. What was scary? I don't think I've ever been scared of anything. Taking that powerbomb from Mike Olson over the top to the table, that bruised my kidney. First match back in ECW, bruised kidney, piss and blood. Paul Loria split my chin that one time.
What's this?
Paul Loria split my chin. You guys remember Paul Loria at all?
Yeah.
He split my chin. You ever see that? He does a thing where he takes the chair, and the bottom of the legs, got the bar that goes across the bottom. He takes it, and I'm on the ground, and I think he's going to put it on my throat to choke me. He takes the thing, and he goes like this. The chair goes like this. I go, oh! I'm thinking, man, my teeth. I go, okay, my teeth are there. And as I'm doing this, check my teeth, my tongue pops through the hole. So I look at the referee, I go, hey, look at this. He's like, oh, then I go home. It was great. I have a picture of me going like this. Through the hole. But that was scary. Seeing Cactus in a fit of rage doing a shoot run-in on the Sandman. Sandman messed something up in a match, blew the finish. And he is beating the crap out of me. I mean, literally. He had the stick, he was hitting me with the handle of the stick. It's just a disaster. Nancy is screaming on the floor. And I'm on the ground. I leave the ring. Figure, okay, safe haven, leave the ring. He's coming out after me. Holy shit. I was trying to call, he pulls me out from under the ring and so beat me some more. Next thing I know, here comes this thing, and I later find out it's Cactus, with the garbage can. And he hits Sandman, not like this, with the can. Like a missile. He goes, Cactus goes, Ike, get out of here now! And I literally ran for my life, because Hack was so that he just lost it, and he was flipping out. So Cactus, I think, saved my life. I really thought I was going to die. There's some really weird thing was going to happen. Nancy had the knife, though. She was ready. She's like...
Anybody have any other questions?
Well, I wrestled the Dirtball Kid. Bizarre match I've ever had.
Wheel wrestling with those two girls late at night?
Rob, that's a whole other story. I think he means in front of people. Paying people. I don't think I've had any bizarre matches. I do remember a guy by the name of Dan the Man Hess.
I have no idea who that is.
You know, in Hamburg?
I have no idea.
Dan the Man Hess. He's working with the pit bulls. This is bizarre. This is just a moment that just popped in my head. I figure as it's in my head, I'll say it, otherwise I'll forget. He's working with the pit bulls and he takes that super bomb,
Right.
the super bomb over the top rope, whacked his head. Guy had no idea what he was doing. He had like a Ric Flair robe.
Oh, I remember this. I remember this.
Guy was never been trained ever, and he was a disaster. Looked like shit, but he had the Ric Flair robe that made it. Because that's what he needed, the Ric Flair robe. Knocked out, comes back to the locker room, and Benoit, who's a real nice guy, goes, "Hey, You okay down there? He goes, yeah, I'm tough, I'm cool. I didn't go to that pussy school like they have, Stu Hart. Benoit goes like this. Like this. And goes to get him. Malenko and Guerrero and Taz grab him and pull him back. This guy was about to die. And Chris was livid. He was so pissed off that I swear he put his butt vessels in his eye. His eye was like red. For like 2 days, it was like red eyes. But that guy was really on thin ice. And the time, you see, there was this guy in the locker room. How the guy got back there, I don't know. But he was standing ECW arena, much like this, the back. Except there's stairs that come up this side, okay, and then you walk through the wall into the stage. So just imagine locker room area, right? And there's steps here, okay? And this is the stage everybody would jump off of. This would be it, but it would be facing that way. This guy is on the stage and pulls, "Who are you?" And he just sort of out of nowhere, "Who's this guy?" New Jack is on stage, starts chasing the guy. The guy scatters, runs. There goes the beer again. Scatters and runs. Now he hits the stairs, okay? He gets down about halfway, and New Jack dives off the top of the stage and dives halfway, rolls. The guy is busted open from his head from hitting the floor, and he just runs away. I fucking showed him. New Jack, God damn it. That was bizarre. We had the guy, the fake Pro Jam guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We had the fake bassist at the arena saying he was from Pro Jam. Blue Meanie's like, that's not him. So Blue Meanie runs to his house and gets a Pro Jam CD and goes, "Paul, look, it's not him." The guy just gently snuck away.
First, right? He showed up in Wilkesboro.
He showed up somewhere.
Yeah, Wilkesboro.
Yeah, it was, very weird things. ECW was a weird company. A lot of weird things.
Debbie Beaumont.
Debbie Beaumont?
Doug was with.
Doug, you hooked up with Debbie Beaumont?
Yeah, he did.
No.
Yeah, he did.
He did. Believe me, he's not alone. Ulf, come on. Where's your dad? Where's Debbie? I don't know.
Anybody have any last questions for Mikey? Go ahead.
What, in your opinion, is it going to take for there to be a truly competitive number 2 promotion that's going to give the business a kick up the ass? As far as the WWF is
concerned. $50 billion. TNA, I think, I don't know their financial, the other guys might know better. They have a very, very, very good base. They have really good talent. They have some of the older guys that people know. They just don't have that star person yet. I guess Jarrett would be as close, and Raven, I guess. They don't have that they're starting to get that mainstream with the, what do they call it?
Magazines?
Magazines, stuff like that. They got the NASCAR thing. It's just going to take them getting exposed to a larger base, which I think they're working on now. Because they have the talent. I mean, there's no doubt about that. They just need something like ECW. The problem with us, we had TNN and we had to tone everything down. And it was just not good. And just the way Paul ran things was a disaster in itself. But they just need that exposure to get it out there while it's still fresh. And supposedly they're getting the syndication and everything else. They're working on it. So, I mean, if they can do that, there'll be a good choice for a number 2. Down there? Oh, well, I don't know about politics. I don't play politics. But, I think it's possible. Not in the near future. They won't compete with WWF. But I think it's they can become big enough where it'll be a nice option for people. And hopefully it'll take off.
Why do you think that matches involve guys like Tighe and Guido get lost on WWF crowds?
Because what happened is because they're put in a position where nobody cares about them. Do you care about Nunzio? Well, you do, but does the average person care about Nunzio? That's right. So you don't care about them. They did nothing but job Tajiri when he came in. So why would he wrestle Matt Hardy on TV with the thought that he might win? Nobody cares. I mean, they bury the guys, and they don't give them a chance to do what they have to do. Like Van Dam. They held him back so much that... In fact, he should be, but he doesn't want to be there. You know, and he's so limited. What? Are you giving me the 5 minutes too?
No.
Huh? I think so. I mean, really, if you saw Tajiri, you guys see SmackDown? Did anybody think that he was going to beat Matt Hardy? No, not at all. Who do they have as a cruiserweight that's going to wrestle Matt Hardy and you'll think he'll win? Well, they got Mysterio, but they're pushing him. They make people care about him. Plus, his work speaks for itself. If they gave Tajiri the chance to do something, I mean, really, think about it. Why don't they have guys like Chris Daniels and AJ and all these guys? They probably won't go now anyway, because they got TNA, which I guess they do okay with, and they take their indies, and they can work the matches they can work. They'll go to WWF, and they'll work 5 minutes, and probably during their match, they'll be talking about the Hulk Hogan-Roddy Piper match. So really, if the commentators don't put you over, and they don't seem to care about you, why are the people? And they won't, and it sucks.
Got a question for you, Mike.
Yes.
I was going to say, if you...
Yes, you're a good worker, all right.
No. I was going to say, if you're running a wrestling promotion on your own, you set your own one, who would be the first 5 guys that you signed up if you have anybody in the whole world? We did this once.
We did this, didn't we?
Yeah.
I would try to find a name who will work, that is somewhat of a draw. You can get like a mainstream, not a mainstream, but people that, when they see the name, oh, I go see him. Who would that be?
For you, Cactus.
I would use Mick Foley. Right away, boom, Mick Foley. That's number 1. Number 2, I would find, 2 would be Red. Because no matter what else, he does some weird, flippy, crazy thing.
He's a draw.
Draw. They'll want to see it. I would find one guy who could do hardcore stuff and could do it well. Okay? Who would that be? No, absolutely not.
Dreamer.
How's...
Ulf Herman.
Off is good. Off is good. Dreamer would be good, but see, Dreamer's beat up now too. Dreamer in his prime, I would take. And I would find like a low-key. See, it's hard to pick 5 guys. You know, Cactus, Red, Christopher Daniels. You know, I forgot I could use guys like that. But I would take Kurt Angle. Because number 1, he's got that Olympic thing. So no matter what happens, he's going to get endorsement somewhere. And people will know him. And he'll have that respect, being he's an Olympian. So,
Bastion Booger.
Bastion Booger. It's hard to pick 5 because you really can't do much with 5 guys. But I would say like a Chris Daniels, a Red, a Loki who'd be like an ass kicker. That's Loki. Just guys like that. Just guys that want to work hard and will produce. Like ECW had. They had guys that just worked hard. And people got their money's worth. And they tried. Was it always the best? No. But they tried hard. And even if the matches weren't good, people knew that they busted their ass and people kept coming back. The fact that we drew 2,000 people in Philly for 8 years, every 3 weeks, shows something, that we were doing something right. You know, but you have to get, you know, what people want. People know what you want to see. Do you want to see guys like Albert, Test? Like, perfect example. Would you think that you would, 2 years ago, a year ago, would you think you want to see the Hurricane and the Rock in a segment together? No. But they built it right, and it was entertaining, so people wanted to see it. That's what you have to know what the people want. And if you don't, like you guys do a great job. The show last night was probably the best indie show I've ever seen. I mean, you had guys that worked hard. They did what the people were into everything. I mean, after 5 hours of a show, well, how long was the show last night?
Nearly 4 hours.
4 hours.
It was meant to be free.
But the fact that you people were still into it and still entertained after 4 hours says You guys booked the right thing, and the guys did the matches, knew what they were doing, and made the people care. Because really, if that was a show in the States, it would be amazing, the response they'd get. And what Rob has. He has people entertained through the whole thing. He's just picking the right guys that work hard, that want to be there. And that's it. Book them and they will come. Book something good and they'll come even more. And I know a girl on the corner of 5th and Lexington. Well, comes again.
All right, we want to thank everybody for being here again today. And you guys, give yourselves a hand because you guys are a great audience. All right, we're back with AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Loki of Ring of Honor, 01, NWA, TNA, and everywhere in between. I guess my first question to each of you guys is how you guys got started in the wrestling business. We'll start with Samoa Joe.
Wow. Okay. Was a mild fan of pro wrestling. Would watch it on TV a lot, and actually started out doing judo and jiu-jitsu, and I was trying to get back into shape, so I started doing it again. And they held a pro wrestling class after my jiu-jitsu class. So I remember my instructor going, "You know what? You'd be perfect for pro wrestling because you have a propensity for dicking around a lot." And I said, "Well, okay. I'll give it a shot." And I gave it a shot, and I had a blast, and I had a lot of fun with it. So that began my pro wrestling career, I guess.
AJ?
Well, my whole deal was I didn't know I was going to be a professional wrestler. I had really nothing to do with it. Just like Joe, I didn't watch much wrestling as growing up. As far as I was concerned, I was going to be a professional football player, basketball player. But as I grew up, I really understood that I was wide and really slow. So that wasn't going to happen. And I had a couple friends that really loved wrestling, were really big fans, and they found a place to train. So I said, when you do find that place, I'll go up there with you. They quit. I stayed. Now here I am talking to you about wrestling.
I had no intention of being a pro wrestler. I was in high school, no direction whatsoever other than I just began doing martial arts. And my cousin actually ended up asking me if I wanted to come down to New York. At the time I was living in New Jersey, and he asked me if I wanted to come down to the wrestling area, well, not the wrestling area, it was an old church that actually had a ring, and he said, would you mind coming down to come train? So we ended up going down there to go train. I just ended up taking it up as a hobby. It was something to do, something to keep me busy, keep me out of trouble. And I continued to do that for maybe like 6 months or something like that on my own. And then I met the guy who ended up training me, which was Homicide. He's wrestled for Big Japan, in Japan. He's wrestled for Ring of Honor, other indies in the United States. And he began my training and began, showing us that you need to be serious with what we do. And from then on, I just, I had a good mindset to begin with what I wanted to do. And, just how to do it was another story. So he started me off. Homicide was the one who gave me a good start, started taking me places, and everything else just kind of fell into place.
Samoa Joe, can you take us into your life as far as training? Like, what was it like?
Training for me was really rough. The guy who broke me in is a guy named Cincinnati Red, and he was the type of guy who was very intent on training somebody properly. I mean, a lot of schools out there now, they'll get you going, they'll get you started in wrestling, and you'll do a half-assed arm drag, you'll do a half-assed lockup, and they'll let you get by with it because pretty much they just want to get you through and get paid at the end of the month. Red was a different type of guy. I mean, if I did something wrong, I literally spent my first week locking up every minute of every training session because I couldn't do it properly and I wasn't doing it up to his standards. And I remember being absolutely frustrated with wrestling at that point and just being like, this is ridiculous. I'm a grown-ass man sitting here learning how to grab another man for hours on end. But and overall, it really helped me out later on in life. But did that come out? Yeah, Rob Feinstein wrote me about being a queer. Hey, all right, both at the same time. I know, big hotel room. Yeah, you're great. Training was really, really rough, and it was. I mean, physically, for me, I didn't mind that part. I mean, the squats and the running and that physical aspect wasn't a big deal for me because I was used to it. But mentally, it almost broke you down because you knew you could do what he was telling you to do, but you had to keep doing it and drilling it every day. Even if you knew it like the back of your hand, you drilled it every day, and you continued to do the same things every day until you got it perfect, until it was like more than just your second nature. Like you woke up in the morning and somebody would come at you and you'd lock up with them perfect. I mean, that's the amount of intensity that went into my training early on, and it did help me out later on in life because now those small things I don't worry about, the small techniques, the stuff, my footwork, I don't worry about because it all falls in naturally into place because of the really, really hard grinding training that I received earlier on. And like I said, aside from that, 200 Hindu squats a day, every day, push-ups, rope running drills, drop down leapfrog drills. I mean, it goes on, and you get gassed out, you get tired, you get beat up, you're bumping like crazy every day to learn how to protect yourself. And like these guys will tell you, I mean, it's no easy process, especially if you want to get at the top of your game and be the best and be able to travel the world, be able to say that work with the best workers and hang with them. I mean, to get to that point is not easy. I mean, it's not easy at all, and I'm sure when you hear these guys' training stories, you'll realize why. I mean, the top guys in this business don't get there by sitting on their ass and watching videotapes. They get there by getting in the gym, training and working technique and working drills and being physical and taking the shots and experiencing, not watching. And I think that's a big problem with a lot of wrestlers today is that they spend 90% of their time watching what's going on and thinking that they can do it and not getting their ass in the ring and doing it and working on it and drilling it and perfecting it. And that's a big part of this craft and being a professional wrestler.
What was the question? We talked really long. The training. The good thing about that helped me out was I did collegiate wrestling in high school and in college, so that really helped me out a lot, and it showed me a lot of discipline, whether it be running and just doing Hindu squats and all that stuff. But unfortunately, I can't sit here and say that the guy that trained me was like on me every day because that's not the way it was. Joe said there's some guys who want to get a paycheck, and this is that guy who trained me. So he showed me a headlock. That's about it. But the good thing about wrestling, it's a lot like life. It's experience. And luckily, once I started wrestling, which was only like a month into my training, I think the reason why I even got to wrestle was because I could do all the stupid flips and stuff. But the good thing about it, I got to wrestle on a Friday night and a Saturday night, so it was back to back. And when you first start wrestling, the more experience you get, it's better. You hear of guys talking, well, I've been wrestling 10 years, but they still suck. Well, there's a reason for that, because they've only wrestled, 5 times in 1 year. That's not enough to get in there and learn what you're doing. And you learn from wrestling. When I went to Ring of Honor, I learned. When I went to King of the Indies, I learned. There's always something you can learn from someone else, like Joe and Low Key. When I went to the Ring of Honor, I hardly ever, my first time I didn't chop that much, but Low Key was chopping me so much that I had to chop back or do something, or I was going to lose a nipple. So the good thing about wrestling, it's experience. You're not going to learn it right away. I mean, I'm still learning here. And when I went to Japan, I learned something. There was always something that I could learn from wrestling, and it's discipline. It's not just something that you go out there and do. It's kind of funny when someone comes in thinking they can just do it. It's fake. That's crap. We get the crap kicked out of us every day, and it hurts. I'm hurting now. Low Key's hurting. Joe's hurting. Obviously, Low Key's hurting. But the thing is, it comes down to training. Whether or not your body can take it or not, it depends on how much meat you have on your body, and I mean muscle. I don't mean fat. No offense to guys who are fat, and wrestle. That's just their thing. But I'm just saying it takes training to get to where you want to be. And being a professional wrestler doesn't mean you sit on your butt, just like Joe says, and watch videotapes. It means getting out there and learning the little things. Whether it's locking up 10,000 times at training or doing whatever. Everything means something in professional wrestling, and I'm just glad that I got the opportunity to work with guys like Joe and Low Key and Ring of Honor and wherever it is around the world to show me the little things that mean so much in professional wrestling, and that consists of my training that still will never end.
You know, I've always been very physical with the things that I do. I've been always been aggressive. So that's just something that helped me carry on as to what I want to do. Now, when I first began, people thought it was just a hobby. It was just something, okay, he does it on the weekends, he's not serious with it, it's nothing big. I don't let anyone dictate what I do or dictate what my life is going to be. I decide that. And what I like to do is I love to learn from everyone. Wrestling guys like AJ, wrestling guys like Samoa Joe, like Chris Daniels, American Dragon, these guys have the same drive I do, and that's to learn. When you're in there, it's very dangerous. People take it for granted. That's why they get hurt. You know, injuries happen here and there, accidental. You know, that's a part of life. It's going to happen. But the more you know, the more powerful you become as far as how to protect yourself, how to wrestle, how to deal with business, how to talk to people, how to conduct yourself. There's so many things that are out there for you to learn. And a lot of people just seem to pass that up because they think, okay, I'm comfortable at the level that I am. If you get comfortable at where you're at, then it kind of lessens your drive and you don't have anything else to go for. And when you're training, you know, that's different. When you're training, you should have a goal that you're trying to reach. You should be willing to excel yourself, make sure that you become successful, make sure that you have the drive to continue to get progressive in what you're training for. Now, guys like AJ, guys like Samoa Joe, Chris Daniels, Dragon, all these guys that people consider the top guys in the world, that's what they're doing. They're learning as they go along. They're learning with the experience that they get. And the more experience you have, the more powerful you become. People think that, oh yeah, it creates egos and things like that. No, well, some people don't know how to handle it. Some people will take it and develop an ego about it, thinking that, oh yeah, I'm above this person, I'm above that person, when that's not the case. The experience you get should develop a confidence for yourself, but not develop that ego or that arrogance. And the training is very important. The experience you get should be able to help you, you know, determine the difference between having an ego and being confident and being able to apply everything that you know while you're in there. Pro wrestling it's not taken seriously throughout most parts of the world, but it's something that can help you even outside of the ring. You know, there's so many different things that you learn. Pro wrestling is still a business. People seem to forget that. They think that, oh yeah, what they see on TV, that's all but there is to pro wrestling, but that's not the case. It's also dealing with people. So, you know, you're running a business, you have to deal with people, you want people to be interested in what you're doing, so you have to catch their attention. You have to keep them interested, and you got to make them want to come back. And there's just so many aspects of it that you have to learn. That's why training is so important. Training is the ultimate thing in pro wrestling, and people seem to forget that, but in the end, your training is going to decide whether or not you're going to be successful or you're going to be sitting at home watching somebody else on TV.
Joe, can you talk about your first match or the first territory or promotion you worked for?
Wow. Well, first off, there's probably more people in this room than were really at my first match. I worked for a small company in Southern California where I started out called the UIWA. And my first match was actually against a guy who was a really seasoned veteran who'd been around for a bit, but he had to work under a mask because at the time he was working for another company in Southern California who wouldn't allow talent to work other shows. But he had seen me train and he was really excited about me, so he decided that he wanted to be my first match. And normally it's your teacher that's your first match, but at the time in the company he was in like a title feud, so he didn't really have time to pull this match and fit into the storylines and stuff. So, this guy named Uncle Jess Hansen, he put on this horrible, god-awful, gaudy mask, and everybody pretty much knew it was him, but was keeping the secret just for fun. And we went in there, and I wasn't nervous per se, but I definitely was. I just didn't want to screw it up. You know, that was my big thing. I wasn't nervous that everything would go wrong and get hurt. I just didn't want to screw it up. I didn't want to make a fool out of myself. And went in there, and I remember before my first match too, I just thrown together some gear because I didn't have a good idea of what I wanted to wear. So my idea, and originally Samoa Joe was supposed to be my jobber, pay your dues name that you get. And I'm supposed to get this silly name and pay my dues on the indies, and unfortunately it got over and everybody remembered it, so I'm stuck with it today. But I remember I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, what am I going to wear? What am I going to wear? What am I going to wear? So I had a wrestling singlet I trained in. Okay, so I got that. Okay, wrestling singlet. But I look like hell. So I'm like, okay, but I need something with Samoan in it, Samoa Joe. So I got the most god-awful Aloha shirt I could find in my closet. And I proceeded to invent a costume which consisted of a polyester, horrible Aloha shirt, a wrestling singlet, and kick pads. So basically, I looked like a Hawaiian Alf. You know, it was bad. It was really, really bad. But I went in there and had the match, and it went well, and it got over with the crowd, and everybody loved it. And I remember because of part of my paying dues was I had to do comedy things too. So one of the things is the guy that I came out to the ring with, which I was supposed to be his bodyguard, he'd make me do the Rick Steiner thing, which consisted of running around the ring and barking, which was probably one of the more humiliating things I had to do. But you know, at the same time, I needed to get in the ring, I needed to do it. So shut up, all right? It's my time. He's grumpy because his arm's all messed up, and so, you know. All right. But anyways, so yeah, I ran around the ring, did the Rick Steiner thing, and I mean, I still to this day, every once in a while, I'll wrestle in Southern California, and I'll get the smart-ass fan who was there when I started out, and he'll be like, "Hey, Joe, do the Rick Steiner thing," and I'll be like, you know, kiss my ass.
The first match I had was NCW, which is now NWA Wildside. But I told you I didn't watch a lot of wrestling growing up. So I didn't know that Mr. Olympia was already taken. So that was my first name as a professional wrestler. They put a mask on me with rings on the side. It was really gay. And I told you I wrestled in college, so I took the singlet that I had in college and turned it inside out. So that was the singlet that I wore, and I just wore regular wrestling shoes because I had all that stuff available. I wrestled a guy named Michael Brooks who doesn't wrestle anymore. He was in a bad wreck, so he can't even walk anymore. But we had a pretty decent little match. I'd done a flip or two, I think, and he beat me with a bulldog off the top rope. Oh, Rick Steiner. Anyway. It was an experience, you know, it was a good experience. I got to go out there and wrestle. But during the match, like I forget what, maybe he had me in the headlock, but he turned my mask all the way around. So I was like, oh shoot, and I'm trying to find something to do. And I don't cuss, you guys, but these guys, they want me to, it's like everybody's like, please cuss, AJ, please say a bad word. Anyway, so you're just going to have to get over with the shoots, you know, that's my cuss word. But he turned my mask all the way around, so I was just like punching and swinging. I couldn't see anything. I think I punched him in the nose or something like that. So that's my first stiffy in my first match. But like I said, he beat me with a headlock. Excuse me. I was excited about my first match, okay? First stiffy. You guys have dirty minds. So anyway, it's a good match. I was just very happy to be in a match, and it went great.
All right, my first match was actually in Queens, New York, in the Elks Lodge, the venue that ECW used to run in, and it was a 4-way match with me versus Ken Sweeney, a guy named Chief Tango, who I knew from before I turned pro, and actually a member of my own family, which was Monster Mac. He's one half of the Hit Squad. And it was a 4-way match. It was my first match. A lot of people were asking, are you nervous? Are you nervous? I wasn't nervous. I knew what I had to do. I knew what I wanted to do, so I just went out and did it. The only thing is, there was people watching. And I did okay for myself. I don't think I did, you know, too good, but other people will probably say otherwise. But you know, it was the first step in, you know, getting the ball rolling as far as me being where I am today. And I was happy with the match. I finally got it out of the way. It was my first match. I was happy with the outcome of it. I believe it was a draw, a time limit draw, and it was fun to be in there with guys who were older than me, who had experience, and then being in there with somebody who I trained with, which was, you know, a member of my family. And, you know, the match was they thought it was an okay match. And from then on, I just started getting, bookings from there within the area because, I started out in New York. I'm a New Yorker, very proud of where I come from, and everyone knows that I train hard. So it worked out well, and I was very happy with how it turned out.
My next question would be for you is, when did you say to yourself, well, I'm finally making it in this business and, I'm getting a break now?
I'm still looking for my break, so if any, when I started looking at pro wrestling more as like a serious career and saying I'm starting to make it, starting to do things, was I think after my first few WWF shots. I mean, I had a really good month where I did my first WWF dark matches, and when it was still WWF, and did those and got really great response from those. And then after that, I started at Pro Wrestling 01, and a lot of people when they start on tour in Japan, they start with the regular touring schedule, which is like smaller shows, which are like 2,000 people here and there, the smaller arenas around the country. But my first show is in a work shoot pay-per-view in Osaka Castle Hall in front of like 10,000 people. And I remember like I'm sitting there going, luckily the two WWF shows that I did, that was like 20,000, so that was my first really huge crowd. But now here I am on a pay-per-view in Japan, and nobody knows who I am. And I'm working against two guys who are, fan favorites down there. And I'm walking down the ramp to the ring, and I'm looking around going, my God, what in the world am I doing here? And when I finally got to the ring, I calmed down, and the nerves kind of went away. And, the match actually turned out really, really good. And because of that, 01 continued to bring me back and start bringing me in. And since it was a work shoot pay-per-view, I don't know how shoot fighting is here with the UFC and stuff like that. It was in that style of a match, and so when I originally went over, their perception of me was, well, he can do like a work shoot, but that's about it. We don't know if he's a pro wrestler or not. But they brought me over for a tournament, their inaugural Burning Heart Fire Festival. It's got 22 million names, but I guess that's what they call it. And they go, okay, we want you to do a pro wrestling match. And I go, okay, no problem. Are you sure? Yeah, no problem. Really? Yeah, really. The pro wrestling match, no problem. So, I got in there and I did a pro wrestling match. And I get backstage and I look at the promoter, and the promoter looks at me and he goes, good match. I'm very surprised. On why? He goes, you're a pro wrestler? I go, I started as a pro wrestler. He's like, really? And then we went through the whole thing over again. But I think that's when I first started. And then from there, like because of that, and my name started getting out a bit more to a lot of promoters, and did these tournaments, around the nation, King of Indies, which, and then later Ring of Honor, run by Rob Feinstein and rfvideo.com. And, it's kind of ballooned from there, yeah. And, I think that was my first real turning point in my career, and hopefully I can continue to ride that wave somewhere. That'll buy me a house and a nice car, but we're still working on that.
My big break, I always set goals on where I want to be. So, as I told you, I started with NCW, and I had a goal, to make it to NWA. Well, they balled us out, so I made it. I was considered, I met my goal. But then, the next goal was to make it to WCW, and a lot of times, guys, I don't believe there's a lot of politics in wrestling. So a lot of times it's right place, right time, with the right person watching. And luckily, we, as NWA Wildside, had a developmental deal with WCW. WCW would come and watch their guys wrestle. And in that time, I was having a great little feud with Air Paris. And we got a dark match because of it. Went to Baltimore and put on a great match. That's when I did the shooting star to the floor, called it the Shooting Styles. So it was like kind of the first thing they'd seen over there. And it got huge pops, and that was the reason why I got my job. Johnny Ace calls me up and says, blah, 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 we're going to get you a contract. And the next week we were on Monday night. And to me, that was unbelievable. But unfortunately, it didn't last long. So I lost whatever steam I was making. But the great thing about that was they didn't do anything but just piss me off, because WWE didn't pick me up. So in turn, I'm going to be the best independent wrestler they'd ever seen. And I got the opportunity to wrestle Christopher Daniels at the NWA 52nd, I do believe, anniversary show. and we had a spectacular match, and it was, and I just rode the wave to King of the Indies, you know, because of the match that people had heard about, you know, that we had, me and Christopher Daniels had. I went to King of the Indies, is where I met Joe and Low Key, American Dragon, and some of the other guys, and rode that wave to Ring of Honor and to WWA, World Wrestling All-Stars in Australia. And again, I said, right place, right time, with the right person watching. Well, again, Jeff Jarrett was on that show. So, of course, he tells his dad who has started up NWA TNA, he watched a match of mine, and I had the opportunity to be the first ever X Division champion. And I'm just happy to be where I'm at, and everything happens for a reason. I forgot to tell you that I went to a WWE camp, and they offered me a deal as well. It sucked. There was no money. It was crazy. My wife was in college, and I was the sole provider, and they wanted me to move to Cincinnati. I wasn't going to do that because it's God first, family second. And I'm not one of those guys who can just leave everything and do whatever with his family. My wife is more important to me than that. So I went back, and I think because of that, because I actually made a right decision in my life, that TNA has really taken care of me, and I'm happy to be where I'm at. And I got the opportunity to wrestle with 0-1 as well, and man, that's a blessing to be over there. And I just enjoy where I'm at right now, and really, it could get worse, but there's always backup plans for with 0-1, and with even now with probably WWE because of the stuff that we're doing.
My big break, I think, came from becoming the 2001 Super 8 champion. It was definitely a very hard tournament. The night before, I fought 2 matches. So within the 24-hour period, I ended up having to fight 5 matches. That was something that ended up just skyrocketing my name value in America. From then on, I went to having a few shots with the WWF, which I know has some kind of ties with ECWA in America and in Delaware. And I went up to WWF. I was given a chance to work a few dark matches. From then on, I went on to doing televised matches for Jack and Metal. The things that I did were well received by the office. I got good advice from everyone. I got good reviews. But, you know, obviously, I guess I wasn't what they were looking for, so things didn't turn out the way that I probably would have hoped at that time. But like AJ said, everything happens for a reason. From then on, the name value I got from being on Jacked in Metal and things like that helped me get to other places. So I was able to be on WWA's first pay-per-view in America in Las Vegas. Things like that were able to just continue my momentum as far as getting to where I want to get, being able to perform at higher levels, and just continuing my drive to become a better wrestler. From WWA, ended up going to NWA TNA, where on a consistent basis you can see me and AJ fighting all the time. As well as Barry Lynn, The Amazing Red, SAT, all kinds of guys. And, you know, it's just, like AJ said, the right place, right time, have the right person looking. It also helps that, you know, you put a good effort into what you're doing and show that you're very serious with what you want to do. Because if people can't take you seriously, then, you know, you probably won't get treated the same way, or you won't get treated the way that you really want to be treated, and you don't want to be treated lower than what you would carry yourself. And you know, my big break came, I think, from the Super 8, because it just boosted me from unknown indie guy to, okay, this guy, he does pretty good for himself. And then from then on, you know, it just gradually increased for me, which now led me to be in Japan. Right now, I'm the 0-1 junior champion, and you know, I hold that in high regard because I take my job very seriously. I go out there, I fight very hard, I fight very passionately, you know, while I'm in there. And, you know, I get a lot of praise for what I do, but to me, it's still too much for me to learn. I have, one person asked me in an interview in Japan at percentage-wise, what do you think you're at right now? And to me, I still think I'm at maybe 10 to 15%. And that's only because there's so much experience out there. There's so much to learn. There's just so many people out there that you can get so much knowledge from that it's almost impossible to reach anywhere near 100%. And he asked me, he said, you know, what happens when you do reach 100%? And I told him very honestly, I said, the day that I feel I reach 100% is the day that I walk away. Because if you don't have anything more to go for, then what's the purpose of continuing? So the big break for me was the Super 8, and because of that, it just helped me develop my name value and just helped me develop as a person.
I lost the Super 8.
What do you feel has been your best performance, and what are your future goals?
Performance-wise, wow. You know, I can't really sing a lot of match because there's been so many and so many different styles. You know, if anybody ever seen me in low key, there's that type of match that I've done that people seem to really, really enjoy. There's matches in There's matches in 0-1. You know, I think guys like Masato Tanaka and Shinjiro Otani, they're just guys I really, really click with. And I don't know how many of you follow Japanese wrestling at all, but both these guys are phenomenal athletes. Masato Tanaka was ECW World Champion at one time, and many of you people know him more for the hardcore crazy stuff he's done. But if you see him now in Japan, he's probably turned into one of the most charismatic, energetic, just, you know, technically proficient wrestlers in the business today. I mean, as far as workers go, I mean, if you get up a top 10, I mean, he's definitely within the top 5. That's how good he is. I mean, he can just really pull great performances out of you. And, you know, he can pull, he can make a bad wrestler good, and he can make a good wrestler great. And, I mean, that's the type of style that he works. And it's just, I really click with him, have good matches. So, I mean, anything from that time period. As far as future goals, you know, I leave that open to, you know, wherever the wind takes me. You know, I have goals for myself. Obviously, it's to continue to be able to do this as a career, make a viable living at it, and be able to, like I said, these guys keep touching on the point that you never stop learning. Well, that is a big part of why I enjoy this business so much. It's like every time I see AJ, every time I see Key, every time I go to Japan, every time you know, coming here and you talk and you interact with people, you're always learning something new. You're always adding something, always pulling from experience or from other people's knowledge that makes your game that much stronger. I mean, I think it kicked off, you know, when we first met in King of Indies, and I mean, everybody came away from that tournament after meeting and training with each other, because we did have training periods before the tournament actually started, knowing more and pulling just a lot of knowledge from each other out of that tournament. And I think that was a great thing about that. But like I said, you know, getting on to future plans, I really enjoy my time in Japan. I work for a great company, in front of the great fans out there. I'd love to continue to travel, and you know, if companies like WWE come calling, NWA, TNA, well, if they, you know, call me and I get the message, and stuff like that, then you know, then we'll go from there. But as for now, you know, as long as I continue to enjoy the sport and continue to be able to make a living at it and be able to do it, then I'll do it till the day I die, and that's pretty much my goals for this. And to be, you know, Ring of Honor champion, sponsored by rfvideo.com for as long as I possibly can. Seriously, you gotta start paying me for these type of things.
It's hard to pick one performance. I think I'm very happy with the performances that I do for the first time for someone. Like me and Johnny, the first time we were here, it was a great match. Ring of Honor was with Low Key, my first match. And I think, you know, if you can get the crowd to respect you, the fans, then you've done it's just a great match. And so as far as goals go, man, I've got a couple. I mean, silly things too. I set goals for everything, like just to be in a video game, you know. So Joe's the only
King
one.
of the Coliseum Green. Pick it up in your stores. Thanks.
Yeah, Joe got a video game. Low Key didn't. But his characteristics are in the video game. They don't even know who the heck AJ Styles is. But zip it. This is my time. Anyway, what the heck? Oh yeah, goals. And you know what? A lot of guys, you know, my goal, one of my top priorities, my goals, is to actually make enough money in wrestling to invest it well and retire. You know, that is the ultimate goal, because I think so many guys just blow their money in wrestling. And I would just like to be able to do that, to wrestle long enough to retire and just sit on my nest egg and just chill, you know, and not have to be, and no offense to these guys, you know, I don't know if they have to do this, but like Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, I mean, I understand that when you love wrestling, it's hard to let it go. And when you love anything, it's hard to let it go. But hopefully I can be one of those guys to let it go and heal from all the pain that I'm going to be going through as an old man anyway. So that is my ultimate goal, just to, you know, do whatever I can to be the best in professional wrestling. And I think that's all of us, that's our goal, to be the best. And when it's over, accept it and live off what you did.
As far as favorite match, I can't decide which would be the best, because to me, I gather different things from the different fighters that I face. When I wrestle AJ, it's a different style than I would wrestle with Joe. I mean, I love wrestling guys who have the same drive that I do, as far as wanting to learn, wanting to get better, and just wanting to put out something good that people can respect. And, you know, that we can respect, that this is what we've done after the match is over. You know, there's just so many guys out there. You know, I love fighting guys like AJ and Joe, Chris Daniels, American Dragon, the guy who actually trained me, Homicide. I love fighting him, because it's kind of like pride versus pride, to see who's going to be the better guy at the end of the match. And it's more of that, with a little added incentive of you know, who's going to be the better guy from Brooklyn. You know, it's you know, it's a little competitive spirit, and you know, it's just I love having fun while I'm in there, and so it's very difficult to just say, you know, like, my favorite match is with this person or this person, because everyone's different. You gather different things from different people, so it'd just be a little too difficult for me to say that. Now, as far as goals, I actually list my goals on my website, and currently I've reached almost every single one of those goals. And to me, it makes me proud, and I know that Joe is mouthing something over there. And you know, it's a good feeling to be able to accomplish a goal, but to me, it doesn't mean the end of anything, because the minute you reach one goal, set another goal for yourself, and just keep that cycle going. Because as long as you have the drive to go do something, I feel that you should be able to just take it on your own and go about your own pace to go do it. Now, I only have maybe, I think, 2 or 3 goals left as far as what I've listed, but that doesn't mean anything, because I'm just going to create new ones for myself. I'm just going to keep going and just trying to keep myself with some good momentum and keep the drive that I have to do things. And like AJ said, you know, being able to retire, being able to walk away and heal from all the stuff that you've done to yourself and be happy is a very important thing. I want to be able to do the same thing. I want to be able to provide for my family. I want to be able to make investments and be able to do things that I want to do, because, you know, I've earned it. I want to be happy with all the accomplishments that I've had, and, you know, be able to enjoy what I've done when my time is up. I don't want to come back and constantly push the envelope to see, you know, if I have anything left in my body. I just don't want to end up in a wheelchair. To me, that's a scary thing. So I want to be able to enjoy my life outside of wrestling when the time is right. Some people don't know how to separate that, but I know that's a very important thing. And, you know, an ultimate goal would be able to walk away healthy and be happy with what I've done.
We have time to take some questions from the fans. Go ahead.
What's your warm-up routine before a match? Because I've heard it's quite intense, Loki and AJ.
Loki grabbed me before his match the other night and started doing Hendo squats with me. These, with me on his back. I don't know why he does that. I think it's just a show off, because I probably couldn't do that. But honestly, you know what really, I don't know, it's just intense when you start hearing people getting ready for the, you know, when I'm fixing to come out and the crowd starts cheering. That's when I start getting nuts. I start getting crazy. I start turning into AJ Styles. And I think the same can be said for both these guys. You guys are the ones that set the tone and get us pumped up and get us, ready to go. As far as stretching goes, I mean, we're hopping around, jumping up and down, just getting warmed up. I don't do the Hindu squats or anything like that, but I'm just saying, it helps to, when y'all are pumped, we're pumped. When there's a great match, before it gets a stretch, we're doing splits, when we see, other people having great matches because we want to have the same. But as far as, I just do regular stretching. I don't do any of that crazy stuff like that, low key.
I don't know about you, but AJ Styles has a tendency to start jumping up and down like a frog right before he goes out there. I mean, I don't know about the average person, but this man over here can clear like about a 5 or 6 foot fence if he needed to.
Running from the cops.
Yeah. As far as me, it's very simple to see. I'm very aggressive and very intense when I go out there. And I think the minute that my music hits, or maybe just a little bit before that, is when I start, like some athletes say, I get in the zone. I'm pretty much blocking out everything that's around me, and I'm just focusing on what's in that ring and what's going to go on. And the one-more routine is a little combination of physical and mental. I know what I'm in there for. I know what I'm going to be doing. I don't expect to get hurt, but things happen. The physical aspect, of course, I like warming up. I like being intense. Probably on the Ring of Honor tapes, I know that Gabe loves showing this crap, me hitting the walls and grunting and groaning like an ape and squatting AJ and, all kinds of retardedness. But I'm very intense with what I do. And, the warm-up routine is just something just to get me ready and prepared. And just like right before I go out there, just hear the buzz and whatever noise the crowd makes, just get myself amped up even more. Then the minute I walk through that curtain, I just give everyone a look. I want to see that response from everybody, whether it's good or bad. I want to hear you guys make some noise, and then I just try to draw that out of you, and then you give it to me, I give it back, and then we go out there and we have some fun.
I'm much in the same vein as Key. Before the matches, I mean, I'm usually the guy that's walking around, just kind of, relaxing, chilling. I usually get really, I like, if anybody saw our workout before the show yesterday that was part of the crew, I mean, tons of people were staring at me and Key like we were crazy people because we're out there doing Hindu squats, counting in Japanese, pummeling and all kinds of things. And these are just warm-up drills that we're used to because when we go on the road, it's part of like the set program that you do before every match. And, before a match, I'm the same as these guys. It's called, turning on the switch, getting in the zone. When you get to the curtain, usually right before your music starts, I'm usually pretty relaxed, just, trying to, calm down my body a little bit, get really calm. And then as soon as that music hits and the crowd starts getting up, that's when you turn the switch, and that's when, Joe becomes Samoa Joe. And trust me, they're two very different personas. And, the minute I walk through that curtain, then it's time to rock and roll. It's time to party. And, I think all the good wrestlers you'll see, they all have that point where they turn the switch and they're no longer who they previously were. And it trips out a lot of people to see because they see grown men who are, perfectly fine and cool and natural and very cordial backstage just turn into these intense, psychotic animals, ready to kill each other before they go through that curtain. And it's something that you need to get into that zone in order to give that performance that's going to convince the crowd of what's going on. If you go out there half-assed, the crowd's going to know it. They're going to feel it off your emotion. And if you got to put your whole heart and soul into when you go out there and you fight. And that's what translates to the crowd. And that's what you see out of all the great wrestlers that you enjoy and love. If you watch them, you know, you can get a guy who'll do the same exact things that they will do, but they're doing it with such intensity and such emotion. That's what's making it that much more appealing to the crowd. And we feed off the energy of the crowd. You know, the more energy we get out of the crowd, I mean, it just psychs us up, and you know, it's like adding, you know, nitrous to the engine, man. It just turbocharges us, and we just keep going full speed.
Next question.
How does working for Ring of Honor compare to working for 0-1?
You know, it's not that much different, to be honest, simply because of the format. I mean, with WWE, obviously there's time cues and stuff to hit, but I mean, Ring of Honor is pretty free form when it comes to what we want to do, and so 0-1. I mean, 0-1 doesn't pay you to go there and tell you how to wrestle and tell you what to do. 0-1 pays you to show up and wrestle. I mean, and it's pretty much the same thing with that I find with Ring of Honor, is that you get there and you find out who you're wrestling and you just go from there, you know, and you tell your own story and you do it your own way, the way that you think is best, because, you know, they don't pay me to tell me how to wrestle, you know, and then I think that's maybe some of the problems that you see in some other leagues, that you see tremendous athletes, tremendous wrestlers being told how to wrestle, and they're wrestling out of their element. And what you'll find in Japan, you'll find in 0-1, is that they celebrate what you can do and the way that you tell a story, and the way that you wrestle, and the style that you fight, and that's what helps get the product over, and that's what I think most fans find appealing.
I really don't think the difference between Ring of Honor and 0-1, there's really not that much of a difference between style. It's just like Samoa Joe said, it's the same thing. Go out there and you do your thing as a professional wrestler. That's your job, not where someone tells you how to do it. And there's no time cues, so it's all good. You go out there and bust your butt, and people are going to respect you for it. And they both have great fans, and you know that's basically what drives me, because wrestlers don't make wrestling. I think the fans make wrestling. So, I mean, we're going to go out there and do our best to entertain you, but you're the ones that make the wrestling.
Like both said, there really isn't much of a difference between Ring of Honor and 0-1, with the exception that 0-1 is more of a corporate environment. In Japan, pro wrestling is seen as a sport, not as a form of entertainment. So they do get the same deals as pro baseball or pro basketball, pro football, things of that nature, because now they're mainstream. Ring of Honor and 0-1 aren't that different, but it's just 0-1 is just more elevated because it's corporate. You know, it has to deal with sponsorships, and has to deal with, you know, the Yakuza and
Shh, don't talk about Jimmy Fingers.
Yeah, and you know, it's the thing about both of them is that they're both great environments to learn and to grow as a pro wrestler. And like AJ said, they both have great fans. The guys in the people in Philadelphia, the people in Japan, all respect what we do. All we have to do is go out there and wrestle. We don't have to go out there and cut a promo talking about midgets beating off in a garbage can. We don't have to talk about, you know, washed up wrestlers or nothing like that, because they're respecting us enough to just let us go out and do what we do. And, you know, that's as simple as it can get for us, at least.
Go ahead.
Who's a wrestling legend, dead or alive, you wanted to fight? Who would you fight, dead or alive?
Dead or alive? Honestly, I would love to wrestle Chris Benoit. I think he's one of the most awesome wrestlers I've ever seen. He just looks intense all the time. I think that that's the great part of wrestling, you know, to look intense but hopefully not kill someone. But I would love to wrestle this man. Every match I've ever seen him in, it's just been spectacular, whether it be Japan or even WCW and WWE. That's just someone that I respect, and he's done a lot in this business.
I think mine's is pretty clear. The person that I would probably love to wrestle most would be Great Muta. When I first began, I based my style after his, I based my movement after his, and you know, I evolved into my own. And right now, I actually have an opportunity to possibly wrestle, not against him per se, as you know, one-on-one, but have a chance to work with him, because I am now wrestling with All Japan Pro Wrestling. And you know, to me, it's, in order to become successful, I think you have to separate yourself from the general mold. You have to be able to be seen aside from a large group in order to be noticed. And what he's done when he came to America in the early or late 80s, he was unique. He wasn't the same as all the big buffed up wrestlers. He wasn't big and muscular and blonde hair, blue eyes. He was, you know, the Great Muta, a guy wearing face paint, sprayed the mist, did moves that people had never seen before. You know, so he brought a uniqueness to what he did, which kept people interested. Same thing that I do. You know, I don't want to be recognized as, okay, you know, great, he's a stiff little bastard who's got a bad attitude. No, that's not me. I'm very intense with what I do, And I'm very intense with what I do, and I like to make sure that I'm going to be able to be noticed for what I do, not for mimicking someone else.
Wow, dead or alive, huh? It's a hard question. Maybe. Could be a possibility. God rest his soul. Bruiser Brody, because it was the real Bruiser Brody, because just the energy that he brought, and being a fellow big guy. I mean, he's a guy who I didn't necessarily pattern my moveset after or what he did in the ring, but I patterned a lot of like the energy that he tries to bring to the ring and bring to the crowd. I really try to and bring that with me when I go out there. I try to get that same reaction out of the crowd and play the crowd and get them just hyped up and amped into just a state where they're just like they're ready to see a fight go down. And I think he just did a better job of any other big man in the world in the history of professional wrestling. That he just got that atmosphere of just this chaotic mass of people just craziness. And I really would love to have a match with him. I think it'd be great.
You also got a chance to beat up people without getting in trouble.
Exactly. And like he said, he also got a chance to beat up people at random without getting in trouble, and that's very, very appealing to me.
You got a question?
No, that's all.
Wrap it up? One more? Go ahead.
Just curious, when your wrestling careers are finished, would any of you be tempted to go to Hollywood? Or would you actually be any better than Hulk Hogan?
I've already done some acting work on the side here and there, so yeah, that's a definite option. I mean, I live in Los Angeles, and that's just south of regular film. Okay, no, I've done some commercial work and some straight to video type movies, but not pornos, like those really cheesy action flicks, But yeah, I mean that's a definite career choice. I think it's a natural fit for a lot of professional wrestlers because in a way, getting into the zone and especially for action films. I mean, who's a better action star than a pro wrestler? I mean, we take the sickest, craziest bumps. I mean, those cats from Hong Kong are pretty badass. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's why you see a lot of pro wrestlers transitioning. A lot of pro wrestlers are looking for work in Hollywood, and that's definitely an option. If not at the end of my career, like maybe even during my career. So, yes.
I think if we can get away from, I don't know about some of these guys, but I got some stupid, ridiculous scars on my head from dumb spots. But I think if they get around that, of course, yeah, just like Joe said. And if not that, let's say wrestling ends tomorrow for me, fine. I'm going to see if I can get into stunts, doing stunning, whatever it may be. There's a couple people that do that in professional wrestling. That's all we are anyway, is actors and stuntmen. That's what we do. So, heck yeah, I mean, how much is The Rock making off these movies? I would honestly, if I could, I would definitely go do some acting, if I had the choice between wrestling, because I'm sick of hurting, So definitely acting would be somewhere in the road for me. I would love that.
I don't think I would get into Hollywood. I think when my time is up. These two, yeah, they're better built for that stuff than I am. I'm pretty mellow, pretty quiet. So I mean, I wouldn't want to live that kind of lifestyle, being so fast paced and in the Hollywood limelight. That's just not me. Just after retiring, I just pretty much would rather spend more time with my family and things that I seem as being very important to me. That's about it.
On behalf of myself, and I'm sure these guys will speak for themselves, I just want to thank everybody once again for coming out and supporting us.
just finished your match with James Tighe here at the FWA versus Ring of Honor show. How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel great. I mean, I lost the match, but winning and losing is part of it. I mean, the crowd's so awesome, though. I mean, the Philadelphia fans are one thing, but the fans here are just so much better, I feel. Don't let the Philadelphia fans see this, but this is just, I'm so excited to be here. It's such an honor, no pun intended. James Tighe, phenomenal talent. There's nothing to be ashamed of losing such a talent like James Tighe, and I look forward to a rematch.
Is it your first time in the UK?
Yes, first time wrestling in the UK, and I hope it's not the last, because I've had a time of my life, and I'm so excited to come in here, and all my expectations. I'm so excited, like stumbling over my words. Was up this bald monkey staring at me, but every expectation I had was exceeded far beyond anything I could have thought of. So I hope to come back. This was definitely the first, and I hope it's not the last. So.
Hey, joined by Mikey Whipwreck. You just finished your match at the FWA versus Ring of Honor show against Xavier. How did it go?
I think it went as well as it could go, being that I lost. But Jack's a hell of a young talent. He's going to have a hell of a future in this business. He beat the old, beat up Mikey Whipwreck, and all the power to him. I say it's a pleasure to be here in front of you fans, and hopefully you enjoyed the match. And if you didn't, too bad.
Well, folks, the night is over. The game is done. It feels good to stand triumphant. FWA, got a fine monster. Some of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. Some of the craziest fans I've ever seen. But y'all didn't know. You didn't realize who I was, where I come from, what I do. I'm Samoa Joe. I am pro wrestling. And I am the Ring of Honor heavyweight champion. And next time, if there is a next time I come back to the UK, I guarantee what you saw tonight was a sampling. A small piece. Only a quarter of that, which is me. Cheers, folks.
By Chris Daniels after the Frontiers of Honor show.
Frontiers of Honor.
Yes.
A great first step in a good relationship between Ring of Honor and FWA. If there's an equivalent in England to Ring of Honor, it's definitely Frontier Wrestling Alliance. The talent that they've got, the guys behind the scenes that are putting shows together. Every time I've ever come over here has been a top-notch show, talent-wise, organization-wise, the whole 9 yards. And I'm just glad that my friends got a chance to see what I already knew that FWA could put on a 5-star show. And I hope that it's, like I said, the first step in a long relationship. Doug and Jody and Johnny have already come over to Ring of Honor. Hopefully we'll get more guys coming back and forth, a good talent exchange, and just upwards and onwards for both companies.
From what you've seen so far, who do you reckon will be the next person to jump from the FWA to Ring of Honor?
Maybe Xavier. I like Xavier a lot. Hopefully Alex Shane will get a chance at some point. James Tighe is a great young talent and an excellent wrestler in the same mold as Doug Williams, I think. And probably James will be the first one to cross, but like I said, Jack, Alex, those guys deserve their shots as well.